It's Thursday, October the 14th. I guess a little light on the subject would be helpful. October 14th, Thursday, 2021. Last time that we were together, I continue to share my biography only with the clear purpose of trying to encourage you or others who might be listening that how you were raised can help develop your life, can put in building blocks. At the time, I didn't recognize them, and even later on, it was difficult to process. But I want to pick up where I left off last time. As my father had deserted the family, I became the male in the household. I was responsible for doing all the shopping. My mother taught me how to look for meat with marbling in it, how to look for deals on bread and eggs and milk and all sorts of stuff. And then I was the primary person cooking. Now, when the school year came, things altered just a little bit. And as I entered into the fourth grade at Midwestern Christian Academy, there was a bus ride that was involved. I had to walk several blocks from our apartment on Montana Street over to Cicero Avenue. And they take the bus from Cicero down almost near Irving Park Road. No, it was Addison Street. And there was the school. And I did not necessarily mind the bus ride there and back. Frankly, I don't remember Dad sending a lot of money. Now, Linda was working. I'm anticipating she helped with the lion's share of the monthly expenses, the rent, the food, different things like that. I don't know whether they had SSI or disability back in my mother's day. And if so, she qualified. And if so, how much she was getting. I have no idea about those things. But Christian school cost, there was a tuition. Even if she got a scholarship, there was a tuition. So I'm not quite sure how all of this came together. But every day, Monday through Friday, I would make the trip on the bus to the school and return home. Frankly, I don't remember at any time sitting down at home with homework. I just don't remember that. I'm sure I probably had it, unless I was such a fantastic student. I accomplished it in the classroom, which I highly doubt. SATs were coming up. That is back then almost a annual event where students took exams to see if they were at grade level or falling behind or ahead. And the teacher had been prepping us. Mrs. Keller had been prepping us. Wonderful, dear, sweet, younger fourth grade teacher. And throughout the week, she had been kind of prepping us. And we were quite kind of a diverse classroom. And two things I remember about that classroom is I remember a guy by the name of Larry. There was a group of students who attended the school that came from Lydia Christian Home, Lydia Children's Christian Home on Irving Park, probably 3 or 4 miles away from the school. They were bussed over. It was a semi permanent residence for troubled children and their families. And when families could not control their kids or the court mandated it, that's where they would go to live. And so the schooling was done by Midwest. And I remember Larry. Uh, Larry almost looked like he was Dominican. Um, and during the recess, and we had prolonged recesses, probably more so at lunchtime. It might be 15, 20 minutes. So we would choose up sides in the spring and the fall for softball, for baseball games. And he could hit that ball a mile long. Uh, I don't know whatever happened to Larry, but he was always the first one chosen. And guess who? Was always the last one chosen. Well, it was me. I wasn't. I wasn't the most athletic player at that particular age in my life. The winter time, we used to play a game where one person uh, who got chosen, or by default of selection, when there was snow on the ground in the parking lot, would stand in the middle, and the rest of the fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade class, however many wanted to participate, would be on one side of the parking lot and have to run to the other side. And that person in the middle had to tackle one. And so he built up his group until there was 15 tackling this one person trying to get away. And guess who, as a rule, was always standing last? And that was good old Larry. And so those were some memories that I had of recess and that particular young man, but also Mary. I have a remembrance of Mary. Mary was handicapped. She was a bit overweight. Facial complexion, unfortunately, was potted. So either from a disease or lack of skin care. And she was just a very sweet young girl. Most of the students made fun of her. But back to getting prepped for the SATs or the CATs or whatever they were called. SAT, I think, might be college. Um, the weekend, again, was a troubling weekend. Dad left. I was stuck at the house apartment. And mother got up, and here we were cleaning, and I fell back to sleep on her bed. And next thing I did or remember was waking up about 9:30 to be to school by 8 o'clock to start the exams. They were all day long. And so I got myself together and made it down to school and came dragging myself in. And the students looked at me. Mrs. Keller didn't say a word, sat down, asked Mary if I could borrow a pencil to begin the exams, allowed me to go back and take the portions of the timed exams I had missed. And then during the break at recess, she told me to stay in. I could continue to work and try to catch up with the rest of the class. But she understood what was going on in my home. And she was very, in her own quiet way, she never said anything. Are you okay? What's going on with your mother? Never inquired. School must have known. And she just handled it with a very gentle approach. I don't remember fifth, sixth grade at all. Seventh grade was Miss Stork. She was a tall, early 40s teacher. Again, just a wonderful teacher, but she had a handle on the class. She was creative. She didn't put up with any shenanigans. But again, she knew of what was going on. Many times I was tardy and I was late and struggled to try to stay up with the class and what they were doing. Um, but she oftentimes, once or twice, I don't know whether she got into trouble with this or not, would ask one or two of us students after class to come over to her apartment, which was right across the side street from the school, and help her move some furniture. And she would talk with us. I think one time she even baked some cookies and gave us some. And then eighth grade came along and graduation was on the horizon. And Mrs. Clements was the eighth grade teacher. She was a husky woman, and she had a southern drawl to her. She was she was quite the woman. And again, a very good teacher, a compassionate, loving. I had no male teachers to my remembrance going through school, grade school. There was a male principal that we often thought would make a great partner for Miss Stork, Mr. Nichols, but evidently that never materialized. He married somebody else, from what I heard. But all I'm trying to point out in this segment, even though you aren't aware of it, and maybe at your age now, you need to pause and reflect about who God brought into your life to mold you, make you, prepare you for what you're doing now. Because He has. He has. If you are a child of God, He chose you before the foundations of the world. And in that choosing, He has things that He wants you and I to do, Ephesians 2:10. And in the process of selecting us, and in the process of the works that He's chose for us, He has to prepare us. And He does that through people. And in my early life, it was these three ladies. Now, later on, God, not in an overabundance, would bring male people into my life. But at the grammar school level, it was these three precious ladies. So maybe stop today and think about the people that have been a part of your life, to help shape and guide and mold you. We'll see you next time.